Hello, this is Steve Hermann, the author of Mediumship Mastery, the Ultimate Guide, available on Amazon. And I'm in Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp in Cassadaga, Florida. And I'm going to talk a little bit about mediumistic art and how the world of spirit can use you as a medium to express their ideas, to express and to produce information that's evidential, utilizing art as a way of demonstrating not only the survival of the personality after physical death, but even imparting higher guidance and higher wisdom. And there's a lot of different ways in which the spirit world can work through a medium. There's many different phases of mediumship, both physical and mental. And we're going to be talking about the mental mediumship. And of course, if someone's involved in mediumship, in a general sense, people who are mediums, they're in touch with their intuitive mind, they have that sensitivity. So it's not uncommon for someone who is a medium to also be very, 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 very artistic or even musically oriented with things. Mediumship, it's amazing. And when you really get into mediumship, there's all sorts of ways in which they can work with you. So you don't want to put your mediumship in a box, and you definitely don't want to limit yourself. Now, some of you who are watching this video have probably heard about psychic art, which is a bit of a broad term. What does psychic art mean? I like to use the term mediumistic art. In my book, Mediumship Mastery, I use the term spirit art. But really, we're talking about, you've got a mental medium, they've attuned to the world of spirit. Perhaps they're in an altered state of consciousness, because whenever you work with the world of spirit, you're working in some degree of an altered state of consciousness, which can be measured. And you're connecting with the spirit world. So it doesn't matter what the medium is, be it sculpting with clay, using pastels or crayons, colored pencils. You could be working with acrylic or oil paint, watercolors, charcoal, you name it. The spirit world can work with you as a medium, and they can produce pieces of art expressed through you that are highly evidential and highly meaningful to the recipients, maybe even philosophical in some levels. So of course we have all different levels of control, all different levels of influence from the world of the spirit. The big thing is being receptive to that influence from the spirit world and allowing yourself to get out of the way so they can work through you. So we sometimes see some examples where a medium will be, they might draw a picture of the individual in spirit coming through or paint the picture. It's a portrait, and this is referred to as spirit portraiture. Now, spirit portraiture, again, it's something that's very natural to produce. It's something that you can't force this type of mediumship to take place. And over the years, I've seen so many people study in a workshop for mediumship, get into this, and they'll just say, oh, I don't have any ability at all. I mean, I get this all the time. And I do teach some classes on mediumistic art, but I also will mix in the mediumistic art into other workshops that I might be doing in regards to healing, in regards to, in a general sense, opening up your clairvoyance, your clairsentience, and your clairaudience, so to speak. Because when you start to put down, let's say we're going to be working with paper, we're going to be working with pastels or crayons, although it could certainly be another medium, another way of working. But when you start putting it down, you're having to express the color, you're having to express the form, you're having to express the emotion that you are receiving, that's being conveyed to you from the spirit world. And oftentimes people say, well, I can't draw. I just don't have I don't have that type of artistic ability, to draw a representational image of someone who's in the spirit world so that it looks just like them. You put it side by side with the photograph, and it's perfectly, you can recognize who it is. Well, I'll tell you this, don't worry about your ability. Those of you who are mediums out there, or if you go to a class on mediumship, you're sitting in a circle, get an artist sketch pad. Bring it to the circle and start working with it. Start experimenting with it. and see what happens. Be open to new ways in which the spirit world could express themselves through you. Now, what I would suggest to it, you might not have formal art training, you might not be so good, you don't have a lot of good hand-eye coordination. Art, like anything, drawing skills, like anything, it can be cultivated. The more you put into it over time, the better you're going to get, the more proficient you're going to be with this. But start to experiment. Maybe you're working with someone one-on-one, or you're sitting in the circle. Try to visually depict the spirit who's coming through. Draw a picture of them. And it may not look real fantastic according to your standards. But in doing so, you're opening up your mind, you're freeing your mind in a way that they can come even closer to you. The other thing is, sometimes as you're doing this, so oftentimes the influence that's there from the spirit world, we're not fully aware to the extent the influence is there. Consequently, there can be details that are depicted, if we're working with some type of visual art and putting it down on, let's say, a sketch pad, that isn't going to be something that you're even aware that you're receiving it, and yet the recipient will be able to identify it in the end result of what you've produced. You can even work with sculpture with this. You get some clay, and there's some mediums historically who've worked this way, and they've been able to sculpt the face and the features of the loved one. So you don't have to have a lot of ability when you do this artistically. But we have inspirational speaking or inspirational writing, and there's a level of control there. But it leads sometimes, the inspirational writing, for example, it will lead to automatic writing, where it's involuntary control over the arm and the hands of the medium as the spirit writes through them. And that can be done with art as well. Really, artistic expression, we get into spirit art or spirit portraiture. It can be just very, 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 very quick, just a minute or 2, 3 minutes. They can draw through you. And they get your mind out of the way when you're able to do this. Now, in the beginning, your mind might be very, very, very involved. So it takes practice, in most cases, just to let yourself get out of the way. But I highly recommend you experiment with this, not just with using pastels or using crayons. That's one good way. But get some clay. They've got the Play-Doh for kids. They've got all these different types of clays that you can purchase too at your local art shop. Get some of those things. Experiment with it. Let the spirit world get closer to you. Allow the spirit personalities who are part of your team to get really close to you and express themselves in a way that's unique, in a way that's not limiting. Because we always put our mediumship in a box. You compare yourself to other mediums, how you should be working, what's the right way to do it, what type of information you should be giving. No, that's not evidential. Don't let yourself get caught up with that. It's good to have a high standard. It's good to aspire to go further with what you're doing and to evolve as a medium. But you're unique as a medium. How you develop, it's going to be different from other people. Art is fantastic. And when it comes to art, I often, especially with classes where you have novices, people who are very new to this, they lack the confidence. Maybe they're just really analytically oriented. They're an engineer and they come in, and their mind is so rigid. All this rational thinking, analytical thought. And I'll tell them, get some kids' crayons. Get some finger paints. Play around with it. If you're a medium, go to a life drawing session and draw the model. It's really therapeutic. It's fantastic. And you might be not such a good artist in your view, but when you're in that state doing the art, when you're in that atmosphere, your intuitive mind is activated, and it will greatly enhance what you're able to do with your own mediumship. So I hope this has given you some ideas for development. Those of you out there watching this, if you like this video, please subscribe to it, share it with your friends. If you have any questions about mediumship or interest in this, I'm really into the teaching. I teach a lot of courses worldwide in person, and I have a lot of online offerings as well. Please go to my website, which is below here in this video, here on YouTube. Definitely check out my book, Mediumship Mastery. It's on Amazon, and it's used as a textbook for teen mediums all over the world. It's a very good book. So thank you very much, and may God bless each and every one of you.